Okay, so I'm not going to ask you how you are because I know how you are because we've been the whole day together. But again, this is healing so nice. I'm
Thank
amazed
you.
at how it is. Can you like hook me up with your connections?
Definitely.
That would be great.
It's called Walmart.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought you had special connections in the hospitals. No?
Just Mederma.
Just Mederma. I don't know. She's coaching me here. So I already gave you a little bit of the clarification feedback. I want to start by asking, did you have any general questions about that, or was everything more or less clear for you?
I think the general feedback, excuse me, the general feedback was that while I share, I don't really remember the feedback, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll bring you up to speed.
Okay.
Your main concern was that you thought that the feedback was kind of contradictory, the original feedback.
Yes.
And some people thought like that you were a really good explainer, and then other people said that you were kind of like boring.
Right.
And you wanted to know like what's up with that contradiction. And after talking with the group, it seems like a lot of the people, what they wanted to hear from you was more personal stories. Like you explained the things good, but you were very systematic about it and like clean cut, and you didn't really imbue anything with you, like what's your connection to that. So I think that's what they meant when they said like more interesting, was just making it more personal, the thing. About leading the conversation, because one of them said that you should lead it more, and then another one said that you shouldn't lead it more.
Mm-hmm.
After talking with them, they all said that you were very good at speaking your opinion, so I don't know where that one came from, honestly.
I know there were some that were, yeah, like you said, very contradictory, but I guess what I'm like ultimately trying to get at is, am I giving, if you combine all of it together, am I giving clear leadership? Am I able to get to the source and have my peers understand what I'm saying, where I'm coming from, and how my examples apply?
Right. That was another comment that they said, that you asked for a lot of feedback, but sometimes they didn't know if you were asking them to just confirm what you were saying, like you didn't know what you were saying, you're like, is that right, guys? Or if you were asking them to put their input, which is a different perspective of that. So I think that's where you could probably work on the leadership as being more clear and in the differentiation of that.
Okay. But if I'm asking for feedback on like, I know specifically a scenario is that like I have a Randy at my work, and the feedback that I was asking was kind of like, I mean, I was asking for like advice, right? Like I was asking for like actual advice, and is that like what's like a better way to kind of ask that other than like, yeah, like what would you do? Like how do I?
Maybe instead of like just what would you do, like what would be your personal thoughts on that, your personal opinions, like throw in the word personal so that they know that you're directly asking them. It could be a better way to go about it, or just like state up front, like I need your opinion on this, guys. Like instead of saying I want some feedback, maybe just use different language, since it might be confusing using the same word for both types.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then how else can I guess like appeal to them so that they feel open, telling me when my ideas aren't clear, or telling me when I guess I'm probably asking a different question than what we had to answer from the beginning, so maybe.
Yeah, but
How would you say your personal opinion?
But I was gonna say, how would you say?
I mean, I guess for me, I try to give the example of the situation that I'm trying to use. I typically try to make my example very simple, so that we know, like, you know, who's the source, what's the goal, and how do we get to it. I try to make it very general, so I'll use like peanut butter and jelly or a hamburger, and like I want cheese versus not cheese and things like that. Just so that I don't like to put in like all the medical jargon, because not everybody is aware of it. And so I don't like to bog it down with like my little nuances. So I thought that would make it clear. I thought that would make it better, but I guess it's not doing that.
I think maybe they feel a bit distanced from you. Could be. I mean, if you're literally talking about peanut butter and jelly too, it's a very simple example, but maybe they think that you're guarding yourself against them. You know? I think perhaps you could try to use your personal stories, but still like bring down the technical. You know, I don't know, you don't talk about like a serious operation or something, but you talk about someone had the cold, like something that anyone can relate to, kind of things to bring it down to earth, but still they know that you're talking about you.
Got it.
Opens up.
So I should try to make it more relatable as opposed to just like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's too simple, and then a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is so simple that it's hard to kind of break down, I guess. Right? Is that what you're?
Yeah, or it's too abstract in the business sense. I think people
Mhm.
are probably looking like, okay, how does that apply to business?
Okay.
And they probably also want to say like, who is Malia? Like, she's not peanut butter and jelly, so I'm not getting the chance to get to know her and her situation, her work.
Got it.
That.
Okay. That's
So,
good advice.
yeah.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Okay. And would you say you have any other goals besides changing that, or?
I mean, the biggest goal is really to become a person that's able to clearly present my ideas or thoughts, as well as become a dynamic leader within that space.
Okay.
So I think that in order for you to be a good leader as opposed to a good manager, you have to be able to have this idea, have this goal, and everybody completely be on board with it and have feedback about it and make it an understanding across the board. And so that's why I'm specifically trying to achieve that.
Okay. And in your own work, is that something you're actively working on too?
Yes.
Yeah. And do you use examples of peanut butter and jelly there, or no?
Kind of.
Kind of?
Yeah.
Because you're talking about speaking across the whole board, so I do understand that you have to make it simple to some extent. Yeah.
Today I used the analogy. What did I say? Oh, I said we want the whole franchise, not just the nuggets.
And I think that makes, yeah.
And my employee was like, yeah. And I was like, you're a rock star. And he was like, Like, it was good though, because I mean, the situation was we had a physician who called this morning and was like, hey, I want to do a case. I want to use today's day. I'm getting ready to put the patient on the table. Let's go. Probably going to be like 2 hours.
Wow.
I'm not going to rush to the hospital and try to educate you while you're already in the procedure and I've never educated you before. And then, like we have a way of, like, doing things, right? I've told you guys about this before. Like, we educate before the procedure, then we're educating throughout the procedure, and then we reflect after the procedure.
Right.
So, or during and then after. And so for him to call us this morning and say, like, right now, let's do it, let's go, boom, 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 like, that's not gonna work.
No.
And so the employee was like, and the physician was like, well, I have 2 cases today, like, if you guys can't make it today, then that, you know, that sucks. Like, it wasn't like I'm never gonna, like, work with you guys again. It was just kind of like, that will suck. And my employee was like, honestly, like, it's okay, like, and I was like, that's how, like, you're a rock star, that's perfect, because if we did it in a rushed way today, we ultimately, if anything would have failed, then he definitely wouldn't have used us, but at least if we go about it the right way, the way that we know wins, then we'll be able to establish, like, a foundation there that any other physician that we work with there knows, like, you have to do it this way. You have to call us before you have a case to come support your cases. Like, we can't just be on the mill like that.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that the employee understands my vision on that aspect, as well as, like, the fact that, like, we didn't want, that was a chicken nugget right there.
Yeah.
We did not want that chicken nugget. We want the entire franchise.
And you have to have the foundation for that.
Correct.
To get that. Well, that's great. So, just thinking about how are you gonna employ this in the next days to work on communicating better with the teams here, so that you can take it back to your work.
I think with the teams here, I will try to implement my own examples, and I think that will help me even grow in my professional space, because, like, my employees are adults. Like, I shouldn't say chicken nugget. Like, that doesn't, you know, like, it's cool, like, it's cute, but, like, also, like, being able to work on that professionalism here, and even if my teammates don't understand, you know, what mitral valve regurg means, they're gonna understand, like, okay, like, there's a thing going on in the heart, and you guys had to solve it. Got it. Like, they're not, like, my teammates aren't stupid and my employees aren't stupid, so I don't need to continue to act like the people that I'm conversing with are stupid. I can talk to them like humans, adults.
Okay. So if I ask your teammates at the end of the weekend if they heard any medical jargon, they'll tell me yes, right?
They're gonna be like, annoyingly so.
Yes. Okay. That sounds like a good way forward. Did you have any other things you want to talk about now?
No, I mean, I think that's my biggest goal right now, so that's perfect.
All right. So I'll speak with your teammates at the end of the weekend and see how you did.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Awesome. As a bystander, this is a pretty good coaching session. So I'll start with you, Malia. I thought that you expressed yourself really well, but it was towards the end. Like, I wished you had all of that juice at the beginning. Like, you came off a bit guarded, which kind of made the coach like have to pivot a bit. But definitely, like, I mean, I saw like the progression. Like, the first time you used the PB&J to when you start talking about the medical devices, it was a whole different person. Like, it was like, who is this person? Where does she come from? It's like it enables you to like I guess like what to me, I pictured like your brain just reactivated, like it just like reset, bam, and like it was like a whole new person that came out.
If I could say one word, I saw passion.
Yeah.
When you started talking about your actual job and your case, I'm like,
You were like energized, and like that's what like I would suggest, maybe trying to be less guarded and be yourself, right? And especially in coaching sessions, this is what it's for, right? You're here to learn from each other. If you give her half the perception, it's really hard for someone to kind of navigate and help you guide yourself through whatever you're dealing with, or like school or whatever work, right? So that would be my advice for you.
Can I say, I think that it comes from almost like, I don't want to say like trauma, but I think that like being like the only person like in my friend circle or even like within my family who works in the space that I work in, like even if I'm just talking to my dad, like the whole time it's like, I don't know what that means. You know what I mean? I talk to my sister, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So I've gotten kind of accustomed to using very simple analogies instead of what I'm actually talking about, only because
I see where you're
my
going.
day to day is like I don't know what that you're talking about,
I
right?
agree, and I mean, like, this is a safe space, so this is a perfect place for you to start doing that,
Yeah,
right?
I do need to start implementing that back in that. You're absolutely right.
For you, Ashley, you did really well. You asked a lot of questions. I wish you summarized a little bit more, kind of recapped and like pulled from your own experiences. One thing I want you to work on more is when you're taking notes, you look like you're interviewing someone. So it comes off as like it's a pressure situation. That's what I noticed. And smile.
okay.
Right? You ask a lot of good questions. I would say maybe even try to add in, maybe for your feedback, is to add in like some questions like, hey, how's it going? Like talk about something anecdotal that's not specific to business, because you have this thing where you're sharp and clear, or straight and rigid, as you would say, right? So like maybe add some fluff, build the rapport to maybe even speed up that process, because you figured out how to get to her near the end, right? But you could be a bit more effective if you figured out how to get to her right off the bat, right? So that would be my feedback for you. But overall, it was really good what you guys did. So
Yeah. Thank
Sound
you.
good?
Oh, thank you.
awesome.
You're gonna edit these videos, right?